so 7th grade, our learning target today is I can calculate percents using proportions. You should be on page 32. So everybody should be on page 32. Okay, so our first definition is percent. So hopefully in 6th grade you heard the word percent. Percent actually means to be out of 100. So if we look at the definition here, it says a percent is a ratio whose denominator is, and the value that you should have there is 100. It has a value of 100. So when we start talking about definitional things, as a 6th grade student, you should have done something what's called fraction decimal percent and convert back and forth. What happens in 7th grade is we do everything using proportional relationships. And so in 6th grade, let's first talk 6th grade. So for the example here, this is really a 6th grade example. If your teacher was talking about 4% last year, she would say that means you got a 4 out of 100. That's the fraction. So we have a percent, a fraction, 4 out of 100, which is the same as 0.04 or 4 hundredths. 4%, 4 out of 100, 4 hundredths. Another example would be if we had 25%. 25% by definition, because it has to be out of 100, would be that you got a 25 out of 100, whether it should be free throws, it's your test score, it doesn't make any difference. When it is a percentage, it's out of 100. The decimal that goes with that is 0.25, 0.25. That's 6th grade math. So how does it change to 7th grade math? In 7th grade math, we do this idea of proportionality. So in example 1, we're going to take this math test score, and we're going to say, let's say that you got a score of 17 out of 29 on a test, 17 out of 29. The beauty would be is if every one of your teachers would make the test out of 100, you could very quickly calculate the percent, because that is the definition of percent. So the test was out of 100, you got 70, you got a 70%. But teachers, first of all, don't make tests out of 100 for 2 reasons. Number one, sometimes they just don't have the information to give you a test out of 100. And none of you want to take a test that has 100 questions on it. If you had to do that multiple times during the course of your day, that would be horrible. So if in my math class, a lot of times our tests are around 30 points. So I take this, I give this test, it's out of 29, you get a 17. The only way we can calculate a percent is to change that 29 to a 100. So it's out of 100. Our value then would be how much is that out of 100? So we've taken that 29, the total amount is what we made on our test, and we say we have to get that out of 100 to get a percentage. We take cross products and solve. Go, everybody, cross products and solve. Cross products, solve. Cross products, solve. I know you don't have a ton of room there. Cross products, solve. Cross products, solve. So you're typing in cross products, so that should be cross products and method solve. I'm going to start to solve while you guys are solving. So what you should be doing here is grabbing the variable x, multiplying on that diagonal, we get 29x equals, grab the 17, multiply the diagonal, 17 times 100 is 1,700. Hand method kicks in. Get the variable x alone, divide by 29, copy, paste. We end up with 1x equals. Now for today's work, I want you to round to the nearest whole percent. Whole percent. You don't have to worry about those decimals at all in today's work. So we have 1,700 divided by 29, and I end up getting 58.6. 58.6 is what I'm getting on my calculator. Sorry about my work here, it's a little sloppy. 58.6%. So for today's work, I'd like you to round that to the nearest percentage, 59%. So if you score 59% on your math test, you actually got an F. Questions on the first example? Okay, so moving on to the science test. Moving on to the science test. science test is out of 64 points. You score 58 out of 64. Dilemma is percent is measured by 100. So your brain has to say, when I calculate a percent, I have to get rid of the 64 and I need to change that to 100. Now we're not really getting rid of the 64 because we need it for that cross product. But my brain is thinking, I have to get out of 100. Now I am going to give you a free pass today on showing all your steps for hand method and cross products. In today's work, you get a free pass that you can go right from what you see on the screen right now to an answer in the blank, just for today's work. So you get to, if you want to calculator work, all of that, and then just give me an answer, you get a free pass today to do that. I will still show my steps, my hand method on the board, but you do get a free pass on showing all your steps today. You're going to be calculating those steps in your calculator anyway, but you don't have to show all of your steps. You still should be multiplying these. 64 times x equals, you should still be multiplying the other diagonal, which is 5,800. You just don't have to show all the steps that I'm showing in blue right now. You can just, you're getting a free pass in today's work. Divide by 64, copy, paste. You get 1x equals, so that's 5,800 divided by 64. When rounding to the nearest whole number, I have 90.6 coming out of this percent. Rounding the nearest whole number, you should have a 91%, which is an A according to the grading rubric over here on the left that you got an A on that science test score. This percent is out of 100. You take a test out of 68, you got to change that to a 100, cross products comes out. I'd like you to try the social studies test and the ILA test. Go. Okay, I'm going to get started. I know some of you are still plugging away. The social studies test actually doesn't require any work at all. If you were to take a look at that denominator, it is out of 100 already. So you got a 78% on that test. I know some of you set the proportion up to cross products, so that's 78%. But just common sense would tell you that it is 78%. Over here, you have an ILA test score. I'm asking you to calculate the percent. The definition of percent is it's out of 100. So you need to change the denominator to 100 to get the percent. Take cross products and solve. When you do that, on your ILA test, you should have an answer of 71%. I believe it's 70.8%. If you round to the nearest whole, it was 71%, which would give you a C on both your social studies test and your ILA test. Kind of a high C on the social studies test, a low C on the ILA test. So that is how we would calculate a test score, converting to a percent. We're going to work backwards in this next step. In the next step, sometimes I'm going to give you the percent that you got. You're going to have to figure out another piece of the puzzle. It's still going to be proportions. So we're going to do this thing called is over of. So as I start to read from left to right, on the right-hand side, I'm going to put something called is over of. Now, this isn't just something that, one of those funny things that Ms. Bookman makes up. This is actually something that consistently is taught district-wide and in our school. It's a trick that we all use called is over of, organizing a word problem. The thing that's by the is the word what, which means that there is an unknown there. So in the is spots, is over of, in the is spot, we're going to put an X. You'll see, it'll start to come together on the next question. The thing by the is this idea of what. So I'm going to put an X in the is spot. 50% really means 50 over 100. 50%. That's the definition. It's out of 100. And the value by the of is 30. So I have everything in the proper place. This is I have my 50% here. This is my is, this is my of. Cross products and solving. I know you don't have a ton of room to write. You get a free pass on showing all your steps today. You still need your calculator to type all the steps in, but you don't have to write them all today. Cross products, solve, round to the nearest whole number. I think it comes out as a whole number actually. I know it comes out as a whole number, so go ahead and solve that. Cross products. You should be coming up with an answer of 15. Which means that if you had 50% out of 30, you scored a 15. Many of you could have come up with that answer just a simple mental math, but that's how we would get there using proportions. Box on the right here. So we have the idea of is over of. We use this when we don't have a ton of information in a problem. It's a very blank, dry problem. We have to default to is over of. The thing by the is currently is the number 40, so I put that in the is spot. The thing by the of is 44. What is unknown this particular time is the percent. And because of the definition of percent, you're going to say that it's out of 100, the percent. What percent? We don't know the percent, so how much out of 100 cross products and solve? You plug in through that cross products and solve. It's time to solve. Everybody's solving. Go to the whole number. This is exactly the same idea that your homework is going to be. So I'm coming up with an answer of 90.9% when I cross products and solve that. If we convert to a whole percent, all of you should have 91% is your answer there. All right, we're working through this next example in the you try section. Very dry problem. When you see a very dry problem, we're going to use the formula of is over of. Is over of. We're going to grab the is over of first. As I grab the is, I'm not going to grab the 70 because the 70 is attached to a percent. 70 is taken. It's married to the percent. So it is crucial that you are able to see that that 70 is already married to that percent. The is unknown, so I'm going to put X there. I'm going to grab the of next. The value by the of is 80. Two other numbers go in. This is 70 by definition, percent is out of 100. 70% is 70 over 100 cross products and solve. Cross products and solve. The correct answer that you should have for this box is 56. 56. Okay, third hour, here we go. Is over of. We're going to grab is, we're going to grab of. So as we grab is, the thing by the is right now is the number 20. We put that in the is spot. Oh, the number by the of right now is 70. We put that in the of spot. The unknown value says what percent. Percent is out of 100. What percent? Taking cross products and solving. What percent are we getting? Taking cross products and solving. Rounding the nearest whole number. I'm coming up with an answer of 28.6%. When we round to the nearest whole number, that becomes 29%. Those are called is over of questions. It's when it's a really dry question without a lot of information. We can just roll, we can organize it with is over of. It's not like a math rule, it's just a way to organize. Moving on to example 3 at the bottom, we just have 3 problems left, I believe, maybe 4. John made 14 free throws out of 22 attempts. That is a total fraction situation. John made 14 out of 22 attempts. Fraction. It is the exact same thing as saying as John got a 14 out of 22 on his math test like we did on the top of the screen. Same thing, it's just a fraction. What percent did John make? We're going to get rid of that 22 because whenever we calculate a percent, we need to get the denominator to 100. So cross products and solving then. Everybody should cross products and solving. I'll show my work on this step, 22 times x. You get a free pass on showing all these steps today. Okay, and method kicks in. We divide by 22, copy paste. You should have a value of 1. X equals 63.64%. If you were to round that to the nearest whole percent, that means that John is about a 64% free throw shooter. Those of you that play basketball would have an understanding of your free throw percentage. Here's a great example of how that relates. So about a 64% free throw shooter. Okay, on the top of page 23, meet me there. We're almost done, guys. 2 more examples in this. Everybody should be on top of page 23. Amy's shooting percentage is 75%. Now, clearly, this is not Amy as in Ms. Volkman, because I was more like in the 20% shooting. Shooting was not my strength, that's for sure. Amy's shooting percentage is 75%. If we grab that and pull it out into our proportion, you, according to today's learning, should know that 75% means it's a 75 out of 100. So you already have 2 of your numbers. Just by the definition, that's a 75 over 100. The trickiest part comes up next. So you see this number 15. 15 what? It appears that the word comes before 15 makes. She made 15. Underline the number, circle the label. She made 15. My dilemma is I don't know where to put the makes. Or do I? Well, if she's 75% free throw shooter, these would be her makes and these would be her shots. Do you make all of the shots you take? No. So our makes are 75 out of 100 shots. So the question is that you should be thinking about in your head is 15 makes, does it go on the top or bottom? Your answer in your head should be that 15 makes would be going in the numerator, in the make column. The total shots go in the bottom. Cross products and solving, looking for how many did she shoot? She made 15. How many did she shoot? Cross products and solving. Cross product solve. Cross product solve. You should come up with an answer that she shot 20 shots. So she made 15 out of 20, which is 75%. Okay, and our last question for today, in example 5. It says that the science test was worth 50 points. That's going to be a label in my table. The labels are very important in the tables today. Larissa scored 90%. That means 90 out of 100. Larissa has correct. Or that's her percent that she has, 90%. How many did she get correct? The question now is, where do I put the 50, top or bottom? Well, if the test is worth a total of 50 points, the total should always be going on the bottom. Total on bottom. She got 90%, so how many did she get correct out of the total? Cross products and solving, we're trying to find out how many did she get correct. Cross products and solve. Almost there, guys, almost there. We have a summary next. Cross products and solving. You should have come up with the answer that she has 45 correct. So she got 45 out of 50 on that test if she scored a 90%. And finally, our summary for today is all the part to whole relationships. It's really just a matter of a percentage out of 100. gotta get that denominator to 100 if it's not already there. Take cross products, hand method kicks in. Your homework then for tonight is to finish page 23. Wait, pardon me. Your homework for tonight is to finish all of page 33 and 34.
Actually,